Toronto police admit they are more likely to pull guns on black people. Well,
And I'm here to address.
I don't know if I necessarily think that's 100% accurate. I mean, yeah, most likely, yeah, majority of the time, the percentile is going to be probably they're going to be having it when it comes to the guns. Yeah, you're probably going to have to deal with those black people, you know, especially those Gene and Finchers that are carrying the guns or all the other places. Sherborne, I know the guns, but it's not all the black people. Actually, a lot of the black people, it's sort of a gimmick that they've put upon them. They don't even have the guns. It's these other ones. But they do. Some of the black ones do have guns, but some don't. Some it's just uh, some really bad folks altogether. It doesn't matter what skin color they are. It's about your character and your actions. And they roam in groups. Different. This guy might be the leader of Toronto police today, and then tomorrow it's somebody new. That's how it is out here. It's like for like maybe a week's time, everybody's going to be on this one vibe, and then it'll change, and then it'll change. And that's what I notice how it is. It constantly changes from one perspective to the next in this Toronto and all this area. 1 minute we're hearing from, oh my gosh, it's all a big. The only I wouldn't get into it. I studied the Toronto police, but not just the Toronto police, but I studied the police altogether the past 10 years, 15 years. And all I have to say about the police is if you can, keep them at distance. And I don't want anything to do with them, really. But I like when they do their Christmas parades and stuff like that. But I had some improper corrupt officer break into my house, break into my rental Airbnb and try to pull a gun on me and shoot me. And I'm a white person, and that person wasn't black. That person was one of these really bad related to that Griselda Blanco and that one they just got, El Chapo. Her name's Judith Esposito. She's currently on the run. Corrupt. She committed attempted murder. She knows she did down to the factual evidence. She's on the run. She's out in Brampton. She still is a probation officer. It's a big corrupt situation. She's supposed to be in prison for attempted murder. Just runs up in and starts shooting. She's like talking all this literal words, was talking morto. So under law, they state that when you actually utter the words murder, robbery, morto, etc. The last pictures, unfortunately, were for educative purposes. But when you do that, there isn't much of her gang left, actually. I'm not too worried. And I actually happen to be related to that lady. Okay, we see the definition of morto. It means without life, not living. So when somebody's uttering those words and then they do actually attempt to do it, it's all out. It's an easy close and shut case for attempted murder. You got a conviction. We've got admittance from her. We've got admittance. We've got my testimony. We've got physical evidence. We have cross examinations of stories of the officers that are conflicting. Everything is conflicting and looking very bad for that ex probation officer, Judith, who shouldn't have been going around shooting. This happened with this girl a couple of years ago. Well, no, it was about a year ago, maybe. She was charged with murder, and she got charged, and she went to jail. just as she, I guess, should have if she improperly did it. And it wasn't this girl, it was a girl, lady like that. She was a police officer. It isn't about picking sides like any gang or anything. It's about what the person did wrong. And if the person's doing that, I just don't agree with that. Especially, if, like, I'm a pretty good, hardworking guy, and so is all my family. And to not take that girl that woman to jail for attempted murder, it's like that is why you have all those horrible shootings. So I mean, I guess everybody loves them, so we'll get used to them and have more and more. We love them. When's the next one? Because it's your politics that are doing it. You're supposed to be working for us, the ones that are basically sitting there with their heads, and this guy looks out of it. It was just one little Spanish kid. Now you look like you're going to shoot the rest of the family to death. So we got too many police. We got police that aren't supposed to be police because of their financial standintation, of their family, of everything. It's not a job where you just go to school and become a police officer. It has to go beyond that. But at the same time, just because you're a police officer doesn't mean you're any better than anybody. That's why we have the right to carry. Anybody that owns a gun is a police officer, technically. Anybody that owns a gun, you're your own police. Actually, legally, we don't have to have police service if we don't want it. We choose to pay to have police service, and they're supposed to work for us, because you don't want to have to pick up your own. It gets messy. Just like you pay the butcher to cut your deli meat because you're too lazy to kill your pig. And if you want to give up all those rights, go ahead. And you're just going to get killed because they're going to turn it back into that Holocaust thing again. That I got the whole. I talked to them. I hear it. They're saying if you give up those rights, they are going to do it just like Nazi Germany, and like a lot of people are going to get killed like that. Boom. That's what they're saying. If we lose that right or whatever, we're done. They're just going to start wiping people out. So you have to stand up and, well, that's, we've had the Civil War before. And I learned a lot about the Civil War. I even got to go to Tennessee. Are you thinking about moving, man? Because this is where I'm settling down. Um, we got, yeah, not sure, man. Not sure. I never see you ever around. Good, because nobody really wants to see you around anyway. We didn't call 911, did we? Find something to do, man. Like at least Arsenal. That's why I like that Arsenal. At least he has a life, eh? And that was the one thing about cops. You had to have a life. It was like we get to watch Arsenal go on his property and shoot targets and laugh, and he actually has a life, and he has ambitions, and he has pictures to smile about when he goes home, and he talks to his canine about this, and he talks to his canine about that, and he knows what Canada is, and he isn't gosh darn like he's more understanding, and that's why Arsenal's going to last for as long as Canadians last. He's a real Canadian. He lasts as long as the real Canadians. Now those other ones, like look at this one. I mean, he's got long hair. It's sort of, he doesn't look mad. Okay, these other ones are mad and all that. And now I'm not saying they're not Canadians, and that's why I get worried about Randall, because he goes and takes pictures with everybody in the community, you know. But they put their lives out there to protect our children. I mean, not everybody's going to go and protect your neighborhood to make sure, like the same ones that shot that Robin Banks. You know, he's an up and coming rapper. I'm watching his music videos. I'm even feeling the songs. Like, they're good stuff. But when I go outside, I know, like, okay, because I've been alive long enough to know, like, hey, I watched the music video, I'm gonna think I'm a cool guy or whatever. But once you step outside or whatever, you got to know, like, it's hard to explain. Like, don't get hit. It feels like a Mack truck. Like, it's hard to explain because you got people like Randall that keep the place safe. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, those guys aren't powerful, you know. You have people like Randall, like, that are there and whatever, and it's usually something internal. It's internal. Try not to let anybody get you internally, because if they get you internally, oh, it's disgusting. I mean, even Randall would say I've hit him a little bit internally, but I never met him. But you gotta, you compared to some of the stuff people have tried to do to me, I'm like a godsend. I mean, there's this one neighbor I have. I don't even know the character, and the stories I hear him go on about, it really showcases the problems that are with some of our citizens' minds. Because then I see, on the contrary, some citizens, like, we have some great folks in my building and in our community, that I can see a noticeable difference in their achievements and their demeanor and all that since I met them. They really, I achieved a lot, and then I everybody understand, anybody that's well headed understands there's a process to everything, like ranking up or what have you. She's the blue shirt one, but she's older and she's got more experience, and she's the one that would get on the phone with me, and everybody plays their position, their role in the team, and then if you play your position, it doesn't matter what position you are. Let's go on to hockey. You could be the goalie, you could be the center, you could be the this guy, that guy, or the other woman. Okay, because that's what they say. Even women can do this. It's not women can do this, it's even women can do this, because women just, when you say women do this, women, then you start looking like a crazy woman. It's supposed to be even women can do this, even women can do that, because men are the strong ones. We're the ones that are supposed to go out and get it for our families and our woman, and our woman can relax and take care of the kids, teach them values and all that. And that's how you have those crazy ones and all that. We're not going to go into that. But like I said, with the hockey players, there's star players, there's everybody knows his name kind of players, you got cartoon players. You got folks, believe it or not, they may be the ugliest creatures in the world, but they create these animations and they put them on the TV, and they, guess what, got to be a surviving person in this world. And back in school, you would have laughed and made fun of them and said, like, they would have never made it because of the way they looked. And then there's a lot of people that say, well, we got over that, right? No, that was just your specific group of family that got over that stereotype or whatever in your specific area. There's people all over the world that never got over that stereotype. They are still in middle school and they're making fun of people for looking a certain way or accusing them of this, or when they're just creating cartoons and that's how they make their money. But they're so bad people, they're used to their bad stuff because they didn't even know that you could just play your position and you're going to get everything that you want to get. I mean, look at this guy. He's got his eyes shut. He's not really doing nothing. Actually, he's kind of in the way of this guy. But this guy's advancing on the puck, and guess what? That guy's making just as much money as the other guy. He played his position. It made for the photo. When I look at this photo, you wouldn't have wanted this photo to not have anyone behind it. Well, I mean, that would have been the pristine photo. You could Photoshop that. But what happens if he loses the puck? He needs his buddy to come up behind and save it for him. Or how about when you're a kid and you're not a professional player, but you're watching all the kids go at it, thinking they're like these little professionals. But of course, a big professional could come in there and wipe them right out. So same thing goes with business and police. It's like police got to know, like look at this one on the left. He's a thug. He's maybe the one type of one. He doesn't even understand how high up he is. It's like his dad looks like he shit him right out into the uniform. His dad sat on the toilet, pooped, and then there he was in the uniform looking at you. Okay, and those ones, they don't understand that what position they're in. That you got small players that are just kids, and then you got higher ups, and they like it's hard to explain. Like I always liked the police that had those values, like they had something when they went home, or if they didn't, they were saving their money to get it, just like everyone else in the community. And the next thing you know, officer such and such is in his on top of his new quad. Oh, Constable Wicklund just bought a new four-wheeler. He was saving up all goddamn 3 years. He wasn't just talking and blabbing or doing illegal shit. Because guess what? It will catch up on you. See, the thing about some of the police is they think they're untouchable whenever they're in their position until they fuck up so many times that everybody knows their name and who it is and who to get rid of. Like this guy looks pretty good. I like this officer, but I wouldn't bug him too much. And then there's her, and she would talk to me, and but then you, like I said, and then this guy looks pretty friendly, you know. All right, and this woman, she seems friendly. She looks like she wouldn't mess with it. She looks like she's really friendly. But and this guy on the left there, if he caught you with something, you're going to jail or whatever. And the guy on the right, if you caught him solo dolo, he'd probably let you go maybe or whatever. But if he was with his guy right there or whatever, you'd probably end up in jail or whatever. But at the same time, they look like they're really kind-hearted guys, and if it wasn't that bad of a thing, they might give you a warning. That's one thing they never gave me was a warning, but that's kind of illegal. You got to watch that because then that becomes corruption. There was a kid that deserved to go to jail, that Cam Thompson. He deserved a good amount of time to learn, just like every kid did in Canada or United States that needed to. And if he thinks he's any higher up, then he's got a lot of explaining to do in court if he thinks he's higher up than to be a man that if he violated the law would need to go to jail. It doesn't matter who you are. He happens to be my cousin if you want to go through the actual facts and historical and all that. But he deserves to go to jail because he just doesn't get it. He broke in my apartment and all that, whatever. But he taught me a good lesson too. It's like, see Mrs. So-and-so that's supposed to take me to jail, Tom? She's just a weak fucking lady with a little handgun. And that's what my friend Cam and his dad taught me about the police. Was even this guy here, Tom, he wouldn't be able to take them away. Okay, and that taught me a lot because I didn't know it was like that. I had thought that if you killed one officer or whatever, then they would send the military or send like SWAT and all that. But no, it doesn't always happen. Like you can kill one officer and they just forget about it. I think it goes up to some higher up and he's like, oh, you just lost one officer? We're not going to fuck with this guy. And that's what happened with that Phil Thompson. One officer did a knock and talk. He just opened the thing and just shot her and just fucking cleaned her right up. And hey, they've been happy ever since. There was never any SWAT team. There was never nothing. So keep that in mind, everyone. I mean, if the cops come to your door, I guess you can just shoot them if you don't agree with it. But you got to shoot every single one of them. And then it'll get up to the military, and then they'll decide either to go against you or stay with you. Usually, if you're a property owner and you've been paying your taxes and all that for years and years, they'll be like, oh, he's a citizen. And they don't bring the military off after you. So that's how you get away with killing a cop. Like if they're a bad cop, that was a good cop. I'll vouch that cop was good. But if they're a bad cop, that's a certain thing. But hey, it's just one little armored truck, I guess. I think that Phil Thompson talks a lot of shit, though. I think that if they actually brought one of these trucks and a helicopter and shit like that in, you'd be able to get him for sure. You'd have to kill him like an Osama, maybe. He's the real Osama. His name's Phil Thompson. He's the real Osama bin Laden now in Canada. He's the abominable snowman. That's what I call him. The abominable snowman. Guys, he's a bad guy. I mean, I hear about this shit every day, trying to ruin my life. This abominable snowman character, Thompson and his fucking sons. It's like he thinks he's like the only guy in the community or whatever. It's hard to explain. He's pretty powerful, but he's illegal and he kills cops and he hates America. His name's Phil Thompson. And then he acts like that. There was a good picture of that Phil Thompson online to go against any of his character. I mean, he tries to play this little down home. Yeah, here's the thing. He forgot he got so big. He fucked with everyone all around the world and whatnot. And he thought could just be this tease water, sit down kind of guy. And we're basically saying, like, no, Phil, the gig's up. We have the picture of Phil Thompson when he's with his motorcycle. I mean, what better picture could we find? I mean, of that guy. I mean, that one showcases his character completely. If he says that he's this innocent character, I mean, he's a really bad character. Look at the photo. I mean, it shows that he's into being a mafia gangster-esque person, I mean, I haven't seen this one. He's looking a lot older now. I haven't seen him in years. He's a lot older now. I tell you, he looks a lot older now. And he doesn't look as big as he used to me. He used to look way bigger to me, like way bigger. And now he doesn't look so big. He doesn't look so big. And his hair is a little bit longer, which makes you feel a little bit softer with him. And I bet you his wife likes to touch his hair because it's all soft or whatever. Here's what he looked like when I knew him or whatever. He was like short hair to complete thing. He was super sort of aggressive. Yeah, he was. You can tell the difference. I mean, this was actually, he was worse than this. Okay, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I like the guy, but yeah, I can feel it in him. But now he's more like this, you can see it in his skin. He's starting to like slow down, as he should have. Because man, that was not nice, man. I felt like he kind of, well, he literally did, hopped in his truck and ran me right over. And that wasn't very fair to me at the end. I tried to be as fair as I could to Phil when I said, Phil, can you take the cat? I asked him, I said, Phil, can you take the cat? Because I tried to be like a good person. I could, and Phil didn't say it, but I was going to get to the point where we were going to start talking cash, but Phil wanted to hop in his truck and burn out on everything. I mean, we all remember when his sons went to town and they said hours, hours, hours as they burned out in the middle of town. Okay. I mean, that scared the living gajeezies out of me. I mean, it's like, it's an e-transfer, all right? I mean, it's like, I mean, you terrified me. It's like, how am I supposed to go on my computer and do an e-transfer? It's like when I'm getting threatened with guns and all that, right? And then it's like, because I'm going to transfer you some cash does not constitute you to go to my bank and try to rob my bank. Well, like they tried to go to the thing and because that's my bank. I mean, that's my entire life. So then you're doing a bank robbery against somebody's life. So I could have shot and killed that man, all right? But I just pepper sprayed him and it looks like it's taken a toll. Okay. Thank God. It looks like it's taken some sort of toll. Because you can't go into people's banks and say you're going to rob their banks like they were. That's what kind of mind state, believe it or not, this guy was in. He thought he was a bank robber. Okay. And his wife thought she was tough too. And she reminds me a lot of somebody else, but you know, she's family. She looks a little bit like my Auntie Susan, just a little bit different in the bone nature and and they invited me in their house and whatnot, and I liked their dog, and their dog matched them and all that. And then they'd been to the United States. They said they had been to the United States. Phil didn't know that I was related to him, but I was part black or whatever. So they had me go down to the United States for years on like some secret celebrity thing or whatever. They wanted to meet me or whatever. I was this certain nomenclature. That's the way God set it all up and all that. But it's weird because Phil doesn't have to know me and I don't have to know him. But it just happened that he was my landlord. And I don't know. Everything was actually pretty normal. If Phil would have let me leave, I believe I was supposed to leave for December. Was the legal day that I was supposed to leave. And I didn't leave. Oh, I left Phil's house. Phil had no rights in this property. I was renting a separate property down the street. And 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 then next thing you know, everything's fine. I'm about to leave Teeswater and Phil's doing great health-wise, but he wasn't. He had something in his heart, some aggression, and he rolled up to me, started choking me, started beating on me, so I pepper sprayed him. And I went to jail and they released me because it was self defense. And Phil, you know, look at him here. Oh my God, eh? If I would have seen this picture, I would have shot him. I never seen this picture of the guy. He's wearing a fucking Cuban chain or something in this one. He thought he was so fucking mafia. He ran up on me. His son, I like this picture. They got a good character in this when they're playing this episode of the reality show. But that's all it is for Phil. It's some episode of the reality show to him, I noticed. Like in this one, he is like full out, like New York TikTok, like fucking that one guy that curls his hair up and like gangster. He's a gangster. There you go. I got the gangster photo, everybody. That was the gangster photo. And then here's the Ponzi scheme photo where they're in front of their house because Ponzi had a really nice house too, or what have you. But this guy's not like Ponzi. This guy's more like a John Gotti. He actually, you know, I know the mafia history of it. Thompsons are a dying breed. Okay, there's only a few of them left. They were like this family that thought they were like the Gottis and shit like that. And he's one of the last ones or whatever. And who knows if his son's going to make it out here, you know? And that's where they are mafialistically from everybody's perspective. If you want to look at it from the Gotti perspective, because Thompson's a pretty big family in the mob. I mean, I seen a thing in Brampton. There's this thing talking about the Thompson family and when they came from Italy or wherever the fuck they came from and they took over Canada and they were ruthless people.